Hey, what's poppin', guys? Szyl here, and today we're taking a look at the CSGO Alpha Collection. So, first things first, we have the MP7 Groundwater. It's just a basic green and tan finish over the stock MP7. Can't say it's particularly bad. It's not really particularly good, but I am kind of a simp for these really basic color, like read on colors, and it does use brighter colors. So I can't really say really hate this one. I do dislike the fact that it uses like camo colors, but that's kind of a thing with older things. I'm gonna put it low C tier, very bottom of C tier. I think that's where it belongs. Um, but yeah, just a clean skin. Can't really go particularly wrong with it. Next up is the MP9 Dry Season. The fuck is this? this this is probably one of the worst looking weapon skins I've ever seen. Uses a really shit color of brown, a really bad color of green, and a really bad color of yellow. That would have looked horrible just being striped. And then it adds all these random brown dots across the entire thing to make it look even worse. This is an F easy, like probably one of the worst skins I've ever seen in CS. That easy bottom of F tier. I feel the need to specify that because this is particularly horrible. Next up is the XM1014 Jungle, which, yeah, basic color swap again with a nicer looking color of green and then a barf looking color of green, almost camo looking color of green. And then the rest of the gun actually isn't stock, I don't think. I'm having a hard time telling if that's stock or if that's like a slight gray color. If it's a gray color, that's a very weird choice. But if it's stock, it's hard to tell that it is. But yeah, it doesn't look as clean as that MP7. Still just a basic change, and it uses a bad color scheme, in my opinion, of like a camo type of color. So, D tier. I don't even have to think about that one. This is D tier. It still does look kind of clean though, so yeah, I can't see why some people would use it. It's a nice color green that uses for the main weapon. Anyway, next up is the MT49 Jungle DD-Pat. If you guys didn't know, I'm not a big fan of the DD-Pat coloring, but with the camo of like just camo colors, it actually looks kind of clean. Now, unfortunately, this is a really old collection, so any kind of wear means there's a ton of scratches. So there's a ton of scratches in the front here, and actually they're really just in the front. That's actually surprising, because most old collection weapons get absolutely decimated despite being fact new. So yeah, it looks okay. I wouldn't really dislike having this, so I'm gonna put in a C tier. I think the MP7 did look a bit cleaner though, so yeah. Next up is the Tec-9 Tornado, which is the same color scheme of light blue and tan that the M4A4 Tornado did, and it's just a nice, simple color swap. I don't really think you can go wrong with this. I think the M4 does look nicer, but I still think this is solid. I would not mind owning this. It's a solid color swap. Tan and light blue go weirdly well together, and I can't notice any scratches, and the skin looks kind of clean. So that's a B tier for me, weirdly enough. Next up, we have the 5-7 Anodized Gunmetal, which is the stock 5-7 with, I guess, a bit more of a metal finish. I guess the stock 5-7 is like all like this blackish finish, so I guess the metal on top makes it a bit nicer. But it's a very minor change. I would not spend money on this. I would get it any other 5-7 skin. You might as well use stock. Might as well use stock if you like this thing. So yeah, top of D, I guess. It's a bit better than XM, but not that great of a skin. Next up is the Sawed Off Mosaico. Mosaico, I don't know how you say it. Anyway, noticeable scratches in the middle on both sides. Otherwise, nice tan finish of the back here. It does use the stock front, but that's okay because it goes with the color scheme. And the color scheme is kind of if Pablo Picasso looked at a desert, this is what he sees. I don't know why Pablo Picasso sees this type of stuff, but that's the type of art he makes, so yeah, kind of fits. Just a generally bright colored sawed off with like a Picasso finish, so I guess bottom of C for this collection. Keep in mind, all the tier lists are relative to their collection, by the way. I'm not saying anything C tier here would be C tier anywhere else, but in this collection, it's a C tier. Yeah. Next up is the SSG08 Mayan Dreams. Um, I guess the creator hoped that this would be a good skin. That's the kind of dream. It isn't. Basic tanned finish. I don't even know what this is supposed to be. Maybe it's supposed to be like a weird take on like a Mayan idol or something. I have no fucking clue. Middle design doesn't look horrible, but it is scratched to hell because it's an older skin. That's just how it works. Oh, especially the back here, it's just been deleted. And it just doesn't look good. I would honestly just stick with stock. Yeah. F tier, not as bad as that MP9 though. Let me emphasize yet again how bad that MP9 is. Anyway, next up is the Negev Palm, which doesn't look as clean as his Mag 10 counterpart, but it doesn't look bad. Very nice, very, very light skins of a light tan, a light-ish brown, and very, like, white, very white palm tree kind of leaves. Now, at the end of the day, this ends up looking like a camo skin from a distance because it's spread up on the bigger weapon. It looked a lot better on the Mag 10. But it doesn't look particularly bad. It's very bright and noticeable, so if you want people to know you have a skin, this is a go-to. But I'm still going to put this in C tier. I don't think it's particularly good. Yeah. Next up is the P250 Facets, which, yeah. I don't know how to describe this. It's definitely just a gray version of P250, but it has like almost that like 2D to 3D kind of design about it. Like a lot of this is people like kind of looks like if you've ever seen like art where they try to make like 3D on 2D things, this is kind of what they end up with. And I can't say it looks horrible. I can't say it looks pretty bad on the back with where the scratches are located, but the front only really has this one, and otherwise looks kind of clean. Like it's just one simple gray color swap. Still can't say this is better than this is definitely not better than the Gev. I think the Gev was a lot better than most of these things, but it's still kind of clean. I think it's a bit better than the MP7 purely because of color scheme and not because of the design. Yeah. Next up we have the Glock Sand Dune, which there's a P250 Sand Dune. This is the Glock Sand Dune, and yeah, very clean sand-like finish of just tan and like dark-ish or light-ish brown. It's clean. It's just a clean color swap. The colors are kind of bright, so it's kind of noticeable, and it just looks clean as fuck. I'm still saying that Negev looks better. I'm actually going to put up a Negev in B tier and leave this atop of C. I think that makes a bit more sense, and yeah, just looks kind of clean. Can't really dislike this. Next up is the PP Bison Rust Coat, which tries to go for that rusty kind of weapon finish that every other Rust Coat goes for, except like most old skins do, it doesn't apply to this front barrel for no reason. Also, for some reason, doesn't even apply to the back, but it does use the handle, which is abnormal. I don't like this. For people that like rusty weapons, I don't think they would either, considering half of the weapon isn't even rusty. So it just fails in both departments of looking good and looking good for people that like rusty weapons. I think it looks worse than stock, so it's an easy F tier. Still better than those other two things in F tier, though. Anyway, next up is the AUG Anodized Navy, or Anodized Navy, which is just a basic dark blue finish to the back of the weapon. It has no kind of shine to it. It's always going to be this darker color blue. And it's got a massive scratch right here that you can't do anything about. Also isn't applied to the whole skin, so that's another L for this weapon. Yeah, it generally doesn't look that good. Better than the other two things in D tier, but not by much. It's definitely a D tier weapon for me. Next up is the Mag 7 Hazard, which, yeah, this is fact new apparently. Uh, Very noticeable scratches everywhere. The back, the usual spot, the handle, the front handle, in the middle of the weapon, at the top of the weapon, probably the whole backside. It just doesn't look that, it's very, very scratched. I dislike that it's so scratched, but otherwise, just kind of hazard, right? Hazard tape is yellow. The gray and yellow go very well to make you think like, oh, this thing is like hazardous, hazard warning, right? Looks kind of nice. Very, very clean color and design. Unfortunately, it's scratched to hell. I don't think it'd ever not be scratched to hell, so that completely destroys anything the skin had going on. But still the color scene's kind of nice, so put it top of C. I think it's still much worse than that Negev and Tec-9. So, yeah. Next up, we have the Scar 20 Emerald. And wow, it's actually a somewhat decent skin. Now, unfortunately, yet again, not applied to the whole skin. I don't know why they love to do this in older skins, and even in some of the newer ones. But yeah, it's not applied to the whole skin. I guess it's kind of nice because, emeralds kind of shine. to it, and it's got a very nice green emerald looking color, but it's not a full skin. I can't give it full credit, but I'll put it somewhat good in C tier. I think it's a bit less nice looking than the Glock and Mag 7, but yeah, I think it fits in the middle of B tier. So no real highlights of this collection so far, and hopefully the FAMAS Spitfire will carry the rest. Let's see. Yeah, this is the most basic skin I've ever seen. Very basic dark tan finish, which is really bad in my opinion. I don't like the color. It is kind of cool how it's got like this like shark face. I don't know what type of face this is, but it's got like sharp teeth and it's like spewing fire. So I guess it's supposed to be like a dragon. That's kind of cool, I guess. It would be cooler if it fit, if the background kind of fit with it, but for whatever reason, the background is just untextured pretty much. And it's got the usual old FAMAS problem of holy shit, this thing is scratched. This is like fact new, by the way. This whole bottom has been eviscerated. The whole top, gone, reduced to atoms. The entire border, scratched to fucking hell. And even somewhere in the middle, there's a couple of scratches here and there. The front, super scratched. Like this, someone really went to fucking town this thing. Like how people sometimes key people's cars. Someone keyed this fucking weapon skin to make it look as bad as fucking possible. I'm gonna put this in a D tier. It looks bad. Really bad. I wouldn't say it looks worse than stock, but it's fucking close. Bottom of D tier. I don't think anything in this collection really looked that good. The Negev and Tec-9 are actually decent. I can't say that you go wrong with them. But everything else always has some kind of problem, and this is called the Alpha Collection, and it is one of the earlier ones, so that's probably why. But yeah, it's a whole fucking mess. This collection is not good. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.